Oh, yeah.
Before any of the tours really were established, Georgiana from the Marvelettes walked out on the stage. They said, "Now the Marvelettes," and she walked out on the stage with her eyes wide and chewing gum and looking at all the people and said, it's just country style. And I said, it's not going to work. We got to have a department that would groom the kids. And since most of them were ghetto kids that came from single parent homes, and didn't have all the cultural tactics that's needed, we decided to give it to them.
They asked me to open up the finishing school there, Motown Finishing School. Of course, the youngsters, they came from humble beginning, and some were rude and crude and from the street and the project. But with me, it isn't where you come from, it's where you're going.
She taught us how to be elegant, and that's what we wanted. It wasn't something, we weren't being taught something that we didn't want. We wanted to be better. We wanted to, aspire to be the best. She'll say, "Now, ladies." Golly, we used to hate her then. She was the brunt of a lot of jokes, I'll say that, because as young girls, we didn't take her seriously. But I did in my heart, and I applied everything she taught me. And I can't really do anything now without thinking of Mrs. Powell. If I sit, if I talk, if I walk, if I carry myself at all, Mrs. Powell is there.
Marvin Gaye said to me one day, "Miss Powell," he called the finishing school a charm school. "Miss Powell, I don't think I need a charm school, and I don't think I need any train." I said, "Marvin, you don't need as much as some of the other artists, but you do sing with your eyes closed."
I'm a stubborn kind of fella, got my mind made up to love you.
And it gives the illusion that you're singing in your sleep. And number one, places around the country, you have to have your eyes open. Then we could improve on your walk because you're leading with your shoulders and your head. Everything had to be done in a classy way. So if they were doing the shake or whatever, well, we didn't do it in a vulgar way. With Diana Ross and the Supremes, we worked on singing and expressing yourself, looking pleasant and with a smile and maybe a gesture, and how to handle a mic, you see, so that the mic don't handle you. I don't want you ever to look forward, lean forward. You do not protrude the buttocks.
Berry Gordy also hired a well-respected choreographer, Charlie Atkins, to fine-tune Motown stage shows and prepare the acts for television and upscale nightclubs.
In many cases, the artists just went out and they sang and they danced and they jumped around, and they wasn't accustomed to having to be concerned about projection and physical drama. You had to add a lot of movement that would be attractive to the ladies, and the ladies had to do movements that would attract the men.
I've been crying, cause I'm lonely for you.
Sometimes when I was working with the Supremes on that movement, Mary used to say to me, "You're trying to teach me how to look ladylike," which is exactly what I was doing, because I was giving them moves like very feminine moves where you use your shoulders, and wave your hands, and all this kind of business, and keep you so that the fellas are going to really notice what you're putting down.
We would go into artist development at Motown and work on a song, and it would take hours, and we put in hours every day learning those routines. People have often said that Motown kind of made us over and made us into these sophisticated little dolls, but I think that's something that we brought within ourselves. And so Charlie was able to keep us the way we were, but still keep that sophistication and to keep it sexy and to keep the rock and roll, all that as one unit.
See about me, see about me, see about you, baby. See about me, you know I'm so lonely.
Charlie really started turning up the heat on as far as polishing us and spending more time in artist development, because it got to the point that we would be there so much that, man, we were getting tired of looking at each other, but it was worth it because they were grooming us for the real big stage, the Copacabanas, the Las Vegas, the Atlantic Cities, and what have you.
Sometimes we would find that a move might be quite primitive, something that you would see just on the R&B circuit. It would go something like this here. So what we would do for the presentation and the crossover is try to bring it up and give it a little bit more sophistication. It would look something like this here.
Before the 60s were out, the Temptations and several other Motown acts were playing Las Vegas, The Ed Sullivan Show, and the country's most exclusive nightclubs.
You do me wrong, but still I'm crazy about you. Stay away too long, I can't do without you.
Gordy's goal of producing a non-stop stream of sophisticated pop entertainers had become a reality, culminating in the launching of a superstar that Motown developed nearly from the cradle, Michael Jackson of the Jackson 5. For many, Motown's success was Black America's success, a musical accompaniment to the quest for equality led by Dr. Martin Luther King. But to others, Motown was losing its soul by polishing its music and artists for white audiences. The real soulful music was coming from down south.
I'm gonna wait till the midnight hour. That's when my love tumbling down. I'm gonna wait.
What the Temptations did, what the Four Tops did, what Diana Ross and the Supremes did, all of those were top records across the world. But they were da 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 da. But the minute you crossed the Mason and Dixon line and got down here in Memphis, altogether different. See?
You would hear songs at Motown that had the influence of the church in the melody, but they would polish it, and they did a marvelous job at doing that. At Stax, we didn't. We just let it all hang out. We went for it, and whatever it was, that's what it was. Whatever you felt, that's what it was.
Stax Records began in 1958, taking its name from founder Jim Stewart and his sister Estelle Axton. And by 1960, a modest hit by local legend Rufus Thomas and his daughter Carla convinced Stewart to produce more black music. And Stax soon caught the ear of rhythm and blues kingpin Jerry Wexler of Atlantic Records.
It really turned me on to watch the way they recorded, because it was entirely different from what we had been doing in New York and from what everybody else was doing around the country, which was recording with written arrangements, arrangers, and studio players who read the charts.
You didn't have to prepare music. You played a song for them once. The artist could sit down and play or sing them the song once. They learned the song.